Commander Jason Reed never expected his diplomatic mission to the Centauri Alliance would end in marriage, let alone to a warrior princess with very specific ideas about family size. Yet here he stood in their shared quarters aboard the stellar Nexus station, facing his wife of 3 months as she delivered her ultimatum. One child. That's absurd, Jason. Our bloodline requires at least 15, Lyra declared, her iridescent skin shifting through shades of blue with emotion. Her silver hair floated in the low gravity, giving her an ethereal appearance that still took his breath away, even during their arguments. Jason ran his fingers through his dark hair, a habit from his years in Earth's Space Force that surfaced whenever he was stressed. 15. Lyra, honey, humans typically have 2 or 3 kids. Our biology isn't designed for. Your biology adapted to space travel, did it not? Lyra interrupted, her violet eyes glowing slightly, a sign she was building up to one of her legendary diplomatic counterarguments. Besides, the Centauri medical technologies can assist with the process. He should have seen this coming. Their whirlwind courtship during the peace negotiations had been intense, filled with shared moments of cultural exchange and heated debates that somehow always ended in passionate reconciliation. But they'd never discussed children, a serious oversight for a diplomatic officer of his experience. The Alliance needs strong bloodlines, Lyra continued, pacing their quarters with the fluid grace of her warrior caste. Our union is more than just a marriage, Jason. It's a symbol of hope for both our species. Think of the possibilities. Jason watched her move, remembering the first time he'd seen her in action during a pirate attack on the peace conference. The way she'd moved through zero gravity, wielding energy weapons with deadly precision, while simultaneously calculating trajectory corrections. It was the moment he'd fallen in love with her. I'm not saying no to children, he tried reasoning. I'm just suggesting we start with one and see how it goes. This is uncharted territory, Lyra. No human Centauri hybrid has ever existed. Lyra stopped pacing, turning to face him with an expression he'd learned to both love and fear. Exactly. We're making history, my love. Our children will bridge 2 civilizations. They'll carry the strength of Earth's warriors and the cosmic wisdom of the Centauri. Children. Plural. Already decided, have you? Jason felt a smile tugging at his lips despite his concerns. Her enthusiasm was infectious, one of the many reasons the initial peace talks had been so successful. Lyra floated closer, her iridescent skin shifting to the warm golden hues she reserved for intimate moments. The stars themselves blessed our union, Jason. The ancient prophecies speak of a bloodline that will unite the galaxies. 15 children, each unique, each a perfect blend of our species. The prophecies didn't mention anything about who has to carry and deliver these 15 miracles, Jason pointed out, drawing her into his arms. The familiar scent of stellar bloom, a flower unique to her homeworld, enveloped him. Our medical technology can allow for shared gestation, she murmured against his neck, sending shivers down his spine. The burden need not be mine alone. Jason pulled back slightly, eyes wide. Wait, what? Lyra's laughter filled their quarters, a sound that always reminded him of wind chimes in zero gravity. Your face. I jest, my love. Though the technology does exist. Let's table that particular discussion for another time, Jason said quickly, making a mental note to review Centauri medical practices more thoroughly. Right now, we need to focus on the immediate future. The Earth Council is expecting our decision about permanent posting within the week, and the Alliance Council awaits our formal family declaration, Lyra added, her expression growing serious. They'll expect a minimum of 10 children, given my bloodline status. I negotiated down to 15 just for you. How generous, Jason said dryly, but he was already running calculations in his head. With Centauri medical technology and proper planning, maybe it wasn't completely impossible. Challenging, certainly, but since when had he ever backed down from a challenge? Think of it as a long-term diplomatic mission, Lyra suggested, clearly reading his thoughts with that uncanny perception of hers. Each child a new opportunity to strengthen the bonds between our people. A 15-phase mission spanning several decades, Jason mused, falling into familiar diplomatic terminology. With multiple stakeholders, unprecedented objectives, and potentially galaxy-changing outcomes. Now you're thinking like a centauri, Lyra approved, her skin shifting to pleased patterns of purple and gold. Though I hope you'll approach the mission with more than just diplomatic protocol in mind. Jason pulled her closer, their bodies floating gently in the station's reduced gravity. Protocol has its place, but I find that some negotiations require a more personal touch. Indeed. Lyra's eyes glowed brighter, her hair creating a silver halo around them both. Perhaps we should begin planning our first phase immediately. As their lips met, Jason realized he'd never stood a chance in this negotiation. But then again, losing had never felt so much like winning. The Stellar Nexus Station's medical bay hummed with unfamiliar energy as Jason stared at the holographic display, trying to process what he was seeing. At his side, Lyra practically vibrated with excitement, her iridescent skin pulsing with waves of joyful turquoise. "Twins," Dr. Vesa announced, her 4 eyes blinking in sequence as she manipulated the hologram. The Centauri physician's tentacles moved with practiced precision over the medical interface. The first human-Centauri hybrid twins ever recorded. Quite remarkable. "Twins," Jason repeated weakly, gripping the examination table for support. "As in 2. At once." Lyra squeezed his hand, her strength carefully modulated. "The stars have blessed us doubly. We're already ahead of schedule." "About that schedule," Dr. Vesa interjected, her professional tone carrying a note of concern. "The genetic combination is unprecedented. While both fetuses appear healthy, we'll need to monitor their development closely. The human-Centauri genetic merger is creating some interesting variations." The hologram zoomed in, showing detailed cellular structures that pulsed with an inner light. Jason recognized the characteristic glow of Centauri biology, but it was interwoven with something else, strands of DNA that seemed to shift and adapt even as they watched. "Is that normal?" he asked, scientific curiosity temporarily overriding his shock. "Normal is a relative term when we're witnessing something that's never existed before," Dr. Vesa replied. Her tentacles danced over the controls, highlighting various aspects of the developing twins. "The human adaptive genetics are interacting with Centauri evolutionary capabilities in fascinating ways. Each fetus appears to be developing slightly different traits." Lyra leaned forward, her warrior's training evident in how she analyzed the medical data. "They're beautiful," she whispered, then turned to Jason with glowing eyes. "Our children will be pioneers, blazing new paths across the stars." Speaking of blazing paths, Dr. Vesa interrupted gently. "We need to discuss the unique challenges this pregnancy presents. Lyra, your body is adapting remarkably well, but there are protocols we must establish." What followed was an hour of detailed medical instructions that made Jason's head spin. Zero-gravity intervals, specific radiation exposures, dietary requirements that would challenge even the station's advanced synthesis capabilities, and exercise regimens that seemed more suited to combat training than pregnancy. "Remember," Dr. Vesa concluded, her tentacles writing out detailed notes, "no deep space teleportation after the 5th month, and absolutely no quantum jumping under any circumstances. The twins' developing abilities might interact unpredictably with the technology." Developing abilities. Jason latched onto that detail with diplomatic instinct. "What kind of abilities are we talking about?" The physician's 4 eyes blinked in rapid succession, a sign of uncertainty in her species. "We're detecting unusual energy signatures from both fetuses. It's too early to determine their nature, but given the genetic merger, we should be prepared for anything." "Anything" could be an understatement, Lyra said proudly, her hand resting on her still flat abdomen. Centauri children typically manifest their talents early, but with human adaptability in the mix. She trailed off, her skin shifting to excited patterns of gold and silver. Jason made careful notes on his personal device, already drafting contingency plans. "We'll need to inform both councils," he said, diplomatic training kicking in. This development could have significant implications for the Alliance. "The councils can wait," Lyra declared firmly, her warrior authority brooking no argument. "First, we celebrate with our families. My mothers will want to perform the traditional blessing of the dual stars. It's perfect since we're having twins." "Your mothers," Jason blanched slightly, remembering his first meeting with Lyra's 3 warrior mothers. "All of them." "Of course. And your parents must participate too. It's essential for the children's cosmic harmony." Lyra's enthusiasm was undimmed by his obvious apprehension. "We'll need to arrange transport from Earth immediately." Dr. Vessa's tentacles curled in amusement as she watched the exchange. "I'll prepare a detailed medical brief for both families," she offered. "The genetic merging of your bloodlines is a cause for celebration across both cultures." Later, as they floated in their private quarters, Jason held Lyra close, marveling at how his life had changed in such a short time. Her skin glowed softly in the artificial twilight, creating patterns that danced across their walls. 15 still seems like a lot," he murmured into her silver hair, "but I have to admit, starting with twins feels right somehow." Lyra twisted in his arms, her violet eyes meeting his with mischievous intensity. "The universe works in mysterious ways, my love. Though perhaps not too mysterious. Centauri women are genetically predisposed to multiple births." "Now you tell me," Jason groaned, but he was smiling. "Any other genetic surprises I should know about?" "Many," she purred, her skin shifting to those intimate golden hues he loved. "But isn't discovery half the fun?" As if in response to their parents' conversation, a soft pulse of energy emanated from Lyra's abdomen, causing the room's gravity to fluctuate momentarily. They floated in surprised silence for a moment before bursting into laughter. "Well," Jason said, pulling her closer as they drifted, "at least life won't be boring. With 15 children." Lyra's laughter chimed like stellar crystals. "My love, boredom is one challenge we'll never face." The emergency council meeting aboard Stellar Nexus Station wasn't going quite as Jason had planned. He stood at the center of the diplomatic chamber, surrounded by holographic representations of various species ambassadors, all talking over each other in increasingly agitated tones. The genetic implications alone demand further study. The Proxian ambassador's crystalline form chimed urgently. "We propose immediate establishment of a research facility." "Unacceptable," rumbled the Centauri High Minister, her massive form dominating even in holographic form. "These children are of the warrior bloodline. They will be raised according to our traditions." "With all due respect," interrupted Earth's representative, "Commander Reed is a citizen of Earth. His offspring's development should prioritize human safety protocols." Lyra, now visibly showing her pregnancy at 5 months, stood beside Jason with warrior poise, her iridescent skin flickering with barely contained irritation. The twins' energy signatures were causing interesting effects with the holographic technology, making the ambassador's projections wobble occasionally. "Perhaps," Jason suggested diplomatically, "we should focus on the opportunity for cooperation rather than competition." His years of diplomatic training were being tested to their limits. A sudden pulse from Lyra's abdomen caused all the holograms to flash momentarily in rainbow colors. The chamber fell silent. "The children appear to agree," Lyra said dryly, her hand resting on her belly. The twins had been increasingly active, their developing abilities creating unexpected phenomena throughout the station. Dr. Vessa, attending virtually from her medical bay, cleared her throat equivalents. "If I may, the twins' development presents unprecedented opportunities for all species involved. Their genetic structure suggests capabilities we've never seen before, a perfect fusion of human adaptability and Centauri energy manipulation. Which is precisely why proper scientific oversight is crucial." The Proxian ambassador chimed in again. "Our children are not research subjects," Lyra's voice carried the weight of generations of warrior authority. "They are the future of both our peoples, all our peoples," she amended, acknowledging the assembled ambassadors with a graceful nod. Jason stepped forward, sensing an opportunity. "What my wife suggests is a collaborative approach. We propose establishing an interspecies cultural exchange program, centered around but not limited to our growing family." Growing? The Earth representative caught the specific word choice. "The reports mention twins." "Ah, yes," Jason cleared his throat. "Recent scans have confirmed we're actually expecting triplets." The chamber erupted again, holograms flickering as each ambassador tried to speak over the others. Lyra's skin shifted to smug patterns of purple and gold. 3. The Centauri High Minister's booming laugh cut through the chaos. "The stars truly favor this union." The Proxian ambassador's crystalline form vibrated with excitement. 3 distinct genetic variations to study. To nurture, Jason corrected firmly. And to protect. Which is why we're proposing the establishment of a new diplomatic protocol. He gestured, and the chamber's holographic display shifted to show plans for a unique facility. Part cultural center, part diplomatic hub, part medical facility. A place where all our species can contribute to and learn from this new chapter in our shared history. The ambassadors fell into contemplative silence as they studied the proposal. It was carefully crafted to give each species a stake in the children's future while maintaining clear boundaries about research and interference. And this facility would be under whose jurisdiction? The Earth representative asked carefully. "Joint oversight," Lyra answered, her diplomatic training showing through her warrior demeanor. "With rotating administration and clear protocols for all interactions." A surge of energy from the triplets caused the holographic plans to briefly animate, showing how the facility could evolve and grow. Several ambassadors gasped in appreciation. "It seems," the Centauri High Minister observed with amusement, "that the children are already contributing to the design process." Later, in their quarters, Jason collapsed onto their bed, while Lyra gracefully lowered herself beside him. "That went better than expected," he mused. "Indeed," Lyra agreed, her skin shifting to relaxed shades of blue. "Though you might have warned me about announcing the third child during the meeting. Would you have preferred I told them about your mother's prediction of quadruplets for our next pregnancy?" Lyra's laughter filled their quarters. Their faces would have been quite entertaining. The Proxian ambassador might have crystallized from shock. A gentle pulse from her abdomen created a momentary zero-gravity bubble around them. They floated together, enjoying the peaceful moment. "They're getting stronger," Jason observed, placing his hand beside Lyra's on her belly. "Dr. Vessa says their energy signatures are completely unique, a perfect blend of both our species' potential." "Of course they are," Lyra said proudly. "Just wait until they start combat training." "Let's get through the diplomatic crisis first," Jason suggested, pulling her closer as they drifted. "One impossible challenge at a time." Speaking of challenges, Lyra's voice took on that tone that always made Jason both nervous and excited. "Dr. Vessa confirmed something interesting about Centauri multiple births." "Do I want to know?" "They tend to run in families," she purred, her skin shifting to those intimate golden hues. "And with your human genetics in the mix, well," Jason groaned, but he was smiling. 15 is starting to sound like a conservative estimate. As if in agreement, the triplets' combined energy created a spectacular light show across their quarters, painting the walls with swirling patterns of cosmic beauty. Their family was already changing the universe in ways no one could have predicted, and they were just getting started. The newly constructed Harmony Center aboard Stellar Nexus wasn't designed to handle quantum fluctuations generated by 3 very active hybrid infants. Yet here they were, watching as their 2-month-old triplets created miniature auroras in their nursery. "Nova, stop encouraging your sisters," Jason called out as the eldest triplet by 3 minutes created a swirling vortex of cosmic energy. Her skin shifted through rainbow patterns as she giggled, floating slightly above her crib. Lyra gracefully caught their second daughter, Celeste, who had decided that normal gravity was optional. At least they're coordinating better, she observed as their youngest, Aurora, created small constellations with her hands. Coordinating is one way to put it, Jason muttered, watching as the three infants synchronized their abilities to transform their nursery into a spectacular recreation of the Andromeda Galaxy. I'm pretty sure most parents just worry about synchronized crying. Dr. Vessa, monitoring from her expanded medical facility, made excited notes as her tentacles danced across multiple interfaces. Their development is extraordinary. The way they combine human creativity with Centauri energy manipulation. It's unprecedented. The nursery's observation room had become something of a scientific pilgrimage site, with researchers from various species taking turns studying the children's abilities. All under strict protocols, of course, and with multiple safety measures in place. The Proxian theory about quantum entanglement between siblings appears to be correct. Dr. Vessa continued, her four eyes tracking different data streams. They're not just communicating, they're creating entirely new forms of energy manipulation. As if to demonstrate, Nova reached out to her sisters, and their individual energy fields merged into a complex pattern that briefly turned the nursery into a zero-gravity zone. Medical equipment and toys began floating gently around them. That's new, Jason noted, activating his magnetic boots, standard issue since the twins had mastered levitation at 1 month. Should we be concerned? Lyra moved through the floating objects with warrior grace, gathering their daughters into her arms. Her iridescent skin harmonized with their shifting patterns, creating a mesmerizing light show. They're just playing, my love. Though perhaps we should increase the quantum shielding again. A soft chime announced an incoming transmission. The holographic form of Lyra's first mother materialized in the room, her massive warrior presence commanding attention even virtually. My granddaughters grow stronger, she declared proudly, watching as Aurora created a miniature solar system around her head. The ancient prophecies spoke of children who would bridge the cosmic divide. But this? She gestured at Nova, who was teaching her toys to orbit in complex patterns. This exceeds all expectations. Speaking of expectations, Lyra said carefully, her skin shifting to slightly nervous patterns. We have news, Mother. Jason stepped forward, taking his wife's hand. They had planned to wait to make the announcement, but with 3 telepathic infants who seemed eager to share everything they sensed, keeping secrets was becoming impossible. We're expecting again, he announced, watching his mother-in-law's holographic form carefully. Early scans suggest quadruplets. All 3 babies announced telepathically, broadcasting their excitement through a dazzling display of cosmic energy that temporarily disrupted the holographic transmission. When the High Warrior's image stabilized, her booming laugh filled the nursery. 4. The stars themselves celebrate your union, though, she added with a knowing look, you're still far from the traditional 15. About that, Lyra interjected, her skin flickering with mischievous patterns, given the multiple birth tendency in both our genetic lines now. The medical base alert system suddenly activated as Dr. Vessa's tentacles flew over her controls. Fascinating. The new pregnancy is already showing unusual energy signatures. The quadruplets appear to be communicating with their sisters. The triplets created an elaborate light show, clearly celebrating their future siblings. Toys and medical equipment danced in complex orbital patterns around the nursery as their powers responded to their joy. Maybe we should have installed that quantum dampening field, Jason mused, watching as Nova taught her sisters how to create miniature wormholes between their cribs. The dampening field wouldn't have lasted a day, Dr. Vessa noted, her tentacles gesturing at her readings. Their abilities are evolving too quickly. They're literally rewriting the laws of physics as they develop. Lyra's first mother's hologram watched it all with obvious pride. They take after their mother. I remember when young Lyra first learned to manipulate gravitational fields. She rearranged our entire battle fleet into an artistic formation during her naming ceremony. I was trying to improve the tactical efficiency, Lyra defended, though her skin flickered with embarrassed purple hues. And now look at you, her mother continued, producing the next generation of cosmic warriors, though perhaps warrior is too limited a term for what these children will become. As if in response, the triplets combined their abilities again, creating a holographic vision of their future family. The image showed a sprawling clan of hybrid children, each wielding unique combinations of human and centauri abilities, spreading across the stars as bridges between worlds. Ambitious little ones, aren't they? Jason observed, watching as the projection expanded to show their descendants fostering peace and understanding throughout the galaxy. With genes from Earth's finest diplomat and the Centauri's strongest warrior line. What else could they be? Lyra pulled him close, her skin glowing with those intimate golden hues he loved. Though we might need to expand the nursery. Again. The babies giggled in unison, their combined powers turning the entire room into a swirling nebula of possibility and promise. Their family was growing faster and becoming more extraordinary than anyone could have predicted, but watching his daughters paint the cosmos with their joy, Jason couldn't imagine wanting it any other way. 5 years after their first conversation about family size, Jason found himself floating in the observation dome of the expanded Harmony Center, surrounded by what he lovingly called his cosmic chaos. The triplets, now precocious 5-year-olds, were teaching their quadruplet siblings how to create stable microgalaxies, while their newest additions, twin boys born just 6 months ago, watched from their hover cradles with glowing eyes. "Dad, look." Nova called out, her mismatched eyes, one earth brown, one centauri violet, sparkling, as she helped her younger sister manipulate quantum energy. "We figured out how to make the stars dance." The quadruplets, Orion, Phoenix, Lyra Jr., nicknamed Star, and Vega, had inherited their older sister's ability to manipulate cosmic forces, but each with unique variations. Where Nova excelled at gravity manipulation, Celeste at energy weaving, and Aurora at matter transformation, the quads had developed abilities that seemed to transcend normal space-time physics. "Careful with the temporal fluctuations, Orion," Lyra cautioned as she entered the dome, her warrior grace undiminished despite being visibly pregnant again. "Remember what happened last time." "That wasn't my fault," Orion protested, his skin shifting to embarrassed blue patterns. "Phoenix was the one who accidentally created that time eddy." "It was only a small one," Phoenix defended, her silver hair floating in her self-generated energy field. "And we got Dr. Vessa's equipment back, eventually." The Harmony Center had evolved far beyond its original design, becoming a hub of interstellar cooperation and cultural exchange. Representatives from dozens of species came to learn from and contribute to the unprecedented experiment in cross-species family building. The Proxian scientists have a new theory about the children's abilities, Dr. Vessa announced, her tentacles manipulating multiple holographic displays as she entered the dome. "It appears the combination of human adaptability and Centauri energy manipulation has created a cascading effect. Each new child doesn't just develop their own unique abilities, they enhance their siblings' powers exponentially. That explains the quantum harmonics we've been detecting," Jason mused, watching as the twins, Rigel and Sirius, created perfect miniature replicas of their older siblings' energy patterns. At 6 months old, they were already showing signs of abilities that merged and amplified their siblings' powers. "The new ones will be even stronger," Nova announced matter-of-factly, pointing at her mother's belly. "We can feel them already." Lyra's skin shifted to surprised patterns of gold and silver. "Them." Dr. Vessa only detected 2 in the last scan. All 9 children giggled in unison, their combined powers creating a spectacular aurora throughout the dome. 3, they chorused. 2 girls and a boy. They're going to help us build bridges between dimensions." Jason raised an eyebrow at his wife. Dimensional bridges. And here I was worried about them redecorating their rooms again. "Speaking of redecorating," Lyra said with a smile, "your parents' ship just docked. Your mother is bringing more of those earth plants She insists on adding to every corner of the station. Mom says growing things helps ground the children. Jason chuckled. Though I'm not sure how much grounding they need when they can manipulate gravity at will. The integration of their extended families had been one of the most beautiful surprises of their journey. Jason's Earth parents had embraced Centauri culture with enthusiasm, while Lyra's warrior mothers had become surprisingly doting grandparents, teaching the children both ancient combat forms and traditional cosmic harmonies. Grandmother is bringing the quantum crystals again, Aurora announced excitedly, picking up on Jason's thoughts about family. She says we're ready to learn the songs of the ancient stars. The Centauri High Council had formally recognized their children as a new classification of cosmic beings, neither purely human nor Centauri, but something entirely unique. The Earth Diplomatic Courts had similarly created new protocols specifically to handle the unprecedented situations their family regularly created. Do you ever regret it? Jason asked softly as they watched their children orchestrate increasingly complex cosmic phenomena, taking on this crazy challenge of building a family across species. Lyra turned to him, her skin glowing with those intimate patterns that still made his heart race after all these years. Do you remember what you said when I first told you we needed 15 children? I believe I suggested starting with one and seeing how it goes, he recalled with a laugh. And here we are, 9 children later, with 3 more on the way, watching our little ones literally reshape the universe. She pulled him close, their bodies synchronizing naturally in the low gravity. Though I suppose we might exceed 15 at this rate. Mom, Dad? Celeste called out. Watch this. All 9 children joined hands, their combined powers creating a vision of the future, a galaxy where boundaries between species faded, where understanding flowed as freely as the cosmic energies their family had learned to manipulate. In the vision, their descendants continued their legacy, building bridges between civilizations and exploring new frontiers of possibility. Well, Jason said, holding his impossible, wonderful family close as they watched the future unfold before them, I guess when you're rewriting the laws of physics, there's no reason to limit yourself to just 15 kids. Lyra's laughter chimed like stellar crystals as their unborn triplets added their own energy to their siblings' display, turning the entire dome into a living tapestry of cosmic potential. That's what I've been trying to tell you since the beginning, my love. As their children painted the cosmos with their joy, and their extended family gathered to celebrate their ever-growing legacy, Jason realized that their story was far from over. Each new child brought not just new abilities and challenges, but new opportunities to bridge the gaps between worlds, one impossible miracle at a time. The universe, it seemed, had big plans for their little family, and they were just getting started.